Hey guys, Paul here again with another episode of Indie Talks back from 2012 from December. Quick question. Have you ever played Mario? Super Mario Brothers. Just a normal Mario game. Platforming, jumping on stuff, collecting coins. If you have, then you probably have some notions on how that game plays and maybe how a bunch of other platformers would play since so many games were based on it. Well, this is a game called Default Dan, and it was a game jam game by a bunch of different people, all of which are in the call, actually. We have the whole team on this one. And they made a game that completely subverted your expectations of what you think platformers should be. Anytime you collected coins, you would die. Spikes helped you bounce higher. Pits let you just fall through the world back up to the top so that you could use it for platforming, all that sort of thing. And yeah, it was a pretty interesting idea. It got kind of big, weirdly, with a bunch of Let's Players or whatever. That was kind of the era for Let's Players anyway. So a bunch of people were playing it and just giggling and laughing about how, oh, it's so weird to kind of subvert everything you know about platformers for this game or whatnot. And it had its moment in the sun. It was a pretty cool game. And this talk was kind of a cluster, to be honest with you, with so many people in the call. But yeah, it was still pretty fun, and I hope you enjoy it.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, Paul, again, as always, and with me is Nathan.
Hey.
A little sicker than usual.
Yeah, it's all
Great, so he'll be talking less than usual, which might be a godsend. But for now, we have a special treat. We're actually talking to most, if not all, of the team behind the game Default Dan. Maybe, like, Team Default? Does that work? I don't know.
I think that works, man. I think that works.
Okay, so we'll go with that. So I am literally just meeting you guys now for the first time ever, so why don't you go ahead and maybe each say your name and what you did on the project. Starting with Briscoe, sorry?
Briscoe, yeah. So it's Britt Briscoe here. Pretty much I'm just kind of the project manager of the team, so to say. You know, we've been doing some competitions at Global Game Jams where you have 48 hours to kind of throw games together, and this is where, you know, Dan kind of started. So I just make sure everybody gets everything done on time, so I'm really just bossing people around.
He does like the web management stuff too.
Oh, okay, so he would be the one I was talking to on the main email then.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So next we got Matt, so I'll let you take that, Matt.
All right, yeah, I'm Matt. I'm kind of the lead programmer or only programmer and designer for the game, and that's pretty much all I did because I didn't have time for anything else. So, yeah.
Sounds good. Leonard Nicholas.
Yeah, that's me. I'm the animator. I did most of the animations on it. I did and what I do right now is basically freelance animation here in Atlanta.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
okay. So you did that Gangnam Style Default Dan parody I just watched.
yeah, that was me. What did you think of that?
It was pretty great, and it had me watching the video again, which is why. So I apologize. It's an important cultural phenomenon. It's over 700 million views. So update.
Oh,
anyway.
All right, and we got William Buckley.
Hey, yeah, I did sound design for the project and just general humorous disposition of things, and we bounced a bunch of ideas off each other in kind of a round table fashion.
Nice. And was Jim having problems, you were saying?
I don't think he's got a mic set up, but he's the composer. He did the music, and he actually came up with the original concept just in a Skype message. So I guess we got to give him credit for that too.
Right on.
Yeah.
That might be a good place to start, actually. The reason I'm intrigued with your game in the first place is we had a conversation, Nathan and I, about a month ago, and the question was raised of what would happen if there was a Mario-type game where everything that was usually good would kill you. Specifically, if you collected 100 coins, even by accident, you would die. If you collected a mushroom, you would die, stuff like that. So when I heard that you guys had actually created this game, I was super excited to see what this was like. So, I guess the first thing I have to say is some of the level design, like whoever decided some of the placement for coins, fuck you, because that is some of those coins are ridiculous. Second of all, I really love what you guys are going for with this. Like, I didn't really truly appreciate it until I had been playing for 20 minutes. I got it in my mind that no, you can't collect coins, you can't get hearts, you can't do any of this. And yet I subconsciously find myself consistently still going towards coins every now and then when I'm trying to get past a part. So it really started making me think of like how ingrained this ideal is in my head from years of platforming and like Mario and all that sort of thing. And that you just literally by default, I am
it's
killing
like
myself.
A Pavlovian response at some point, right?
Not even
You're
Pavlovian.
See a shiny.
Not even so much like I need to collect it, but I just don't feel a danger there when I'm concentrating.
It's like a rote memorization concept that you have to actually go against the programming that you've done over the years of playing these games.
Right, exactly, and that I found super intriguing. So, congratulations on making me hate myself, first of all, I guess.
That was the point. I mean, the theme was Eye of the Beholder. That was the theme for the jam. So Jim says, rather than approach it literally, we approached it figuratively from the design.
Oh, okay. So what would you classify Default Dan as if you had to? Like a masochore platformer type game, a parody platformer, maybe a satire of some sort?
Yeah, it's got a little bit of an identity crisis there, but I'd say it's a little bit of everything. Like, we wanted to go away from parody, but we kind of ended up with everything just kind of turned out to be Mario. That wasn't the intention. We wanted to kind of mix together ideas from a lot of different games, but for some reason everything just ended up as Mario, so it sort of turned into a Mario parody by accident.
Right.
But I think at its core, it's still it's pretty much a masochistic platformer.
Right. So just
could we ask about the other games that were playing into inspiration for it? Like, I had some ideas that of a few, but I'll let you answer first before I ask about mine. But yeah.
We had actually chit-chatted quite a bit about, like, okay, what can we grab from Zelda? What can we grab from Donkey Kong? What can we grab from Mega Man? And, you know, they're just not quite as memorable concepts of many of the things that were actually in the Mario series, because that just really sticks out in your head.
A lot of the elements from those games also, they only sort of apply to the mechanics in those games, and we can't have the mechanics from every platformer in one. Exactly. So we kind of just had to stick with Mario, and, you know, once you get past the generic collectible, the spikes, you know, what else really is there? We had a hard time thinking up, like, what kinds of elements we could subverse to make the game work.
Yeah, and I think one of the really cool things is, you know, Matt started thinking about, you know, the falling through the floor and coming through the ceiling, or jump through the ceiling and come to the floor, and that really added a whole nother level to it. It just set the game apart to where we started getting kind of a puzzle game on top of what we had.
Right, for sure. Nathan, what were some of your...
It was really specific. It was basically just the way Default Dan explodes reminded me of Explosion Man when you kill a scientist. But I'm not sure if you guys played much of Twisted Pixels stuff. Like, kind of that devious, cheeky sense of humor seemed to be in both, and also the pseudo 3D.
Well, I also like when you explode, your body parts can still collect items. That's kind of great too. Like,
yeah, actually,
one of the first bonus levels is like you have to die in a certain way, so you will collect as many coins as possible.
Yeah. I just, like, when I was... We had to think of a way for him to die, and I kind of wanted to have, like, a bunch of different deaths and have, you know, humor come from that, but we kind of took the easy way out and just created a bunch of red circles that gave him a little bit of physics when he dies, and then we kind of had the idea, why not just take an image of Default Dan, cut him up, and apply, like, his body parts to these instead of making them circles, and people thought it was just hilarious, so we kept it. And originally, when you collided with a coin, you explode immediately, but we had a little bit of a delay there, so you have just a split second to relish the victory of getting that coin before you explode.
Yeah,
And that added a lot to the game too.
that Pavlovian sound effect when you collect it, you hear the ding, and then you realize, oh shit, at the same time.
The sound is really important too, because when you explode immediately on touching it, it just kind of overlaps with an explosion. So that delay sort of helps with that too. But yeah, I had the idea of doing a bonus level where you try to collect coins, and that's what sort of led to letting body parts collect items as well, because that wasn't part of the original game. That wasn't in what we submitted to the jam.
Right. That was
how much of what we see now is like, how much did you have at the end of the jam? Like just one level or a basic?
There were 3 levels. You can actually still download the jam version from the YouTube video for the game jam. It's just sitting in my Dropbox public folder.
Okay.
There were 3 levels. They're pretty much the same as the first 3 levels of the game now, except there's no trophies. They were a lot harder with a lot more blind jumps that just pissed you off. There were no checkpoints that pissed you off even more.
Oh man.
But people surprisingly didn't quit playing. Like I was sort of like angry with the game, and I didn't think it was any good. And then like the final day, I was surprised that people were actually playing through the whole thing, and that's the first time I really started feeling good about it. So
they were addicted to it, trying to get it done.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. I asked my
but,
college. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I asked a college friend to go ahead and download it and beta it and stuff like that, and I get a couple of texts like, "Hey, why am I getting killed when I collect coins?" and things like that. And then I didn't hear from him for a few hours, and it was like later on that evening and everything. I get a text going, "Hey, that negative 53 up in the top corner, is that how many times I've died?"
And also the thing is on the original the jam version, the enemies and stuff actually look more like the Mario-esque enemies, whereas this final version we got the cupcakes and things like that. So.
Oh yeah. The concept wasn't really fully polished out in the jam. We had enemies were actually still enemies. Those little flying Goombas and the walking Goombas would still kill you.
Oh,
but
okay.
It was reverted in that to kill them, you had to jump into them from underneath instead of on top of them.
Right.
So it was sort of backwards that way, but it just wasn't consistent with the rest of the game. So we figured if it's normally bad, it has to be good. So we introduced power-ups, which were originally mushrooms, stars, and fire flowers. But to make it a little bit less Mario-like, we changed that to cupcakes, flailing heartmen, and kept the fire flower the same because that was one of my favorite mechanics.
Yeah, setting you on fire rather than being able to harness it.
Yeah, it actually makes you slightly faster than your normal running speed, and you may have noticed that you don't die if you continue to run.
Right.
You only die if you stop moving, so you can actually use it to as a tool for speed runs to get faster times.
Right.
If you have the whole level memorized.
The first time you meet a cupcake, that cupcake's a jerk. It's just in the worst spot, and I keep jumping way too early, and god damn it, every single time he got me. So I was speaking a little bit about how, since I've been playing video games for so long, and I have this ingrained idea in my mind of what platformers are and the mechanics of a platformer, and this kind of goes against that completely. What feedback have you gotten from people who maybe don't have that experience, like the years of training to look for certain things in a platformer? Like, is this a thing that really targets people that have been playing for a long time?
I think
I haven't really come across any people that are so unfamiliar with platformers that they don't immediately go for coins when they see them.
I would
So it's
think
like
we
a
call those
universal
people
enough genre.
noobs.
Oh, okay.
But I have come across people that they just don't know why they're blowing up. They'll walk into the coin 100 times in a row and just stop playing, and they just never. The cause and effect between coins and death just never clicks in their brain.
They're just
Which-
oblivious.
In a way, sort of like validates the concept, because that's the whole point, is that it goes against what you normally would think. But that also kind of hurts the game at the same time as because if they don't know what to do, they're just going to quit playing.
It's so strange that they don't ever reach the conclusion that's like,
Yeah,
oh, I get it, it's inverted.
Or they
It's
don't
just
even
like,
try to do something different.
Like,
Exactly.
I guess it's broken because obviously coins are good. So,
I think another thing, if you look, I don't know if you noticed, but the little signs everywhere, they kind of tell you what you think you want to do, but they're actually lying to you the whole time. So I think some people read that first one that's saying, collect as many coins as you can, and that's what they do. And, it's funny to
You lied to me.
So, obviously, Mario is a huge inspiration for a lot of this, and there's some other little things I've noticed, like when you finish a level, it looks exactly like when you finish a level in Sonic with the two-part, like where it would say goal normally or whatever, Sonic completed whatever act. That part with how many trophies you collected in your time and all that sort of thing looks very similar. So there's obvious parallels to things people have probably grown up with. What are some of your favorite developers or recent and classic games?
Who wants to start?
I guess just for me, my classic games tend to be always growing up with Sonic and Mario. So seeing those and still playing those even through today, not necessarily Sonic, but Mario games and stuff, I've just always really enjoyed those style of games.
Right on.
I'm sort of a Nintendo dork as well. My favorite game series are probably F-Zero, Metroid Prime. I also really like Street Fighter because I'm a fighting game nerd too, but that's just me. It's funny you mentioned about Sonic looking like the ending sequence looking like Sonic, because I've actually had no idea. I came up with that whole like spiked edge thing, and the whole trophies appearing and all that stuff just from nowhere, never having connected that to Sonic. So that's sort of interesting. I guess those kind of ideas just kind of float around in all sorts of games.
Yeah, great minds think alike sort of thing.
I like to think so.
Keep thinking. Man, I definitely I grew up on so many games. It's hard to pick the one game that that would inspire me the most. But I was definitely pushing for the 3D look on this team, and 3D in 48 hours is usually not something you want to attempt at a game jam.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow these guys are just so amazing. They were able to pull it off with me on this one. So making them 3D was a huge deal.
Yeah, we did
what
Donkey
was
Kong
it about-
Country style.
what was it about 3D specifically? Like, just is it more expressive? Do you feel, or it has that depth, or what was it about that really you had to have it?
Like I said, I grew up on most of the games that I was growing up on was in the Nintendo 64 days. I'm a little bit younger than you guys, I think. So
okay.
when I think of side scrollers, I really think I love Mario, I love Sonic. Those are great. But when I think of games, I usually think 3D and
Did
2D kind of
Glover
like.
kind of have that look? Did anyone here Glover?
Glover?
Okay, I'm a crazy person. There was this platformer named Glover.
Crazy.
You're a glove, and it was pseudo 3D, but whatever. It's fine. It's 64
It's okay.
games.
It's okay, Nate.
Yeah, and actually, I think sometimes, when we were pushing that 3D, and Leonard helping us out with that, when you're in a competition like that, the 48-hour game jam, and you're going up against 20-plus teams, over 200 people there, you definitely have to have something that sets your game apart. And most games coming there have that flash 2D style, and Leonard just really knocked it out of the park by giving us that 3D look to the game.
Yeah, sort of a side note on the 3D is what's really interesting I found about doing 3D rendered sprites in a 2D engine is that you can apply as many After Effects like motion blur and really nice lighting as much as you want, because it's exactly the same as any other 2D sprite once you load it into the engine. So that was sort of interesting. Like if you look at the main menu, just it looks like it's in some awesome 3D engine but it's just a 2D game. It's like the original Donkey Kong Country. If you ever played that, it's the same kind of thing they did there. But this is something that I never thought about until I actually did it. Is Leonard was just like, "Hey, can I apply motion blur to this because he's moving really fast?" And like, "Why not?" And we did it, and it just looked amazing. So no difference in performance.
Right on. William, did you have any favorite developers or games?
Yeah, I actually am probably a little older than some of these guys, and I kind of grew up on. Well, I had the original Radio Shack Pong.
Okay.
The solid state device that connects, and I first system was an Intellivision, which that's super old. But yeah, I've been a big fan. Like I'm more PC gamer than console gamer these days, so I'm a big fan of like pretty much most of the stuff Blizzard puts out. Things like that.
Right.
An audible sigh.
Yeah, let's sigh.
And I just need to clarify, I just looked at footage of Glover. That game's nothing like I imagined. It is a Mario 64 clone, so apologies to the
I just
fans.
looked it up, and I didn't understand what you were getting at from a few
The box
screenshots.
art led me to believe it was more like Rayman or something.
It's totally wrong, though. It doesn't look anything like what we were talking about.
Easy on the cough syrup there, Nate.
I know. That must be it. I'm going to blame Advil. They did that.
Advil's fault.
Okay,
right.
So you guys created Default Dan. It looks like you're still in testing stages, and you're asking people to go on your site and to download it and give any feedback they can and whatnot. When you're looking to maybe make some money off this game, what platforms are you looking to bring it to?
Well, we're looking to finish the PC build probably by January, and I don't know if you're familiar with Game Maker Studio, but you can pretty much just give them money and they'll just let you export to just about any platform, Android, iOS, even HTML5, and there's more coming. They've got Windows 8 App Store, Mac App Store, but we're probably going for mobile release next.
Right.
We're still kind of on the fence about what to do since it's only been 2 months, and some of us just met each other for the first time, and we're not like an official game studio or anything. So we'll probably end up releasing it for free, and then seeing what if it catches on, what people think about it, and if people are still interested in working on the game, we might make some more content, some DLC, and try and sell that. But we're not really sure about anything at this point.
Oh, that's kind of touches on an interesting question. I didn't really think about that. But, did you guys all meet up at this game jam or just in local development kind of hangouts? Or
Yes, so actually we've all kind of met up through the game jams, except for me and Bill. We actually work together. But me and Matt, we met up a couple years ago at the first game jam with our other artist, Ian, who couldn't make it to the call today. But we've done it for about 5 game jams so far, and then we picked up Jim, the second game jam, and he's kind of been with us, helping out with music and sound effects and some art. And, we got Leonard and Bill on board this Bill 2 game jams ago, and then Leonard this past game jam. And
Leonard just kind of walked up to us at the end of forming teams and just kind of joined the team last second, and he was like a huge asset. So it was pretty awesome. But me and Jim actually go way back through high school.
Nice. So I guess in that regard, what experience do you all have from the past that made this possible?
I've done 3 game jams. That's I think in 2 years. Back when I was in college, and the first one we went incredibly elaborate. It was supposed to be this 3D animation. We had like 12 people on our team, and 12 people trying to work together in 48 hours still is not enough, And the time before that, it didn't go so well. We had bad programmers. I was so lucky. I usually just go to hang out and see what we can do. And I walked up and I found these guys, and they knew what they were doing. So this one turned out really good.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been programming and designing games for about 5 years. I have a lot of crappy projects I've never finished. Some projects I have finished. Nothing that's ever really garnered much attention. But that's pretty much my experience. I've done about five or six game jams, however many there have been. But the bulk of my experience has just come from the work I do on the side. Just I've got a pretty big project I've been working on for over a year now that's sort of dying slowly. And I'm clinging on to it for dear life because it's kind of my baby. I'm working on it with Jim and another guy. But we're starting new stuff all the time. And Default Dan, after the jam, the art being so amazing, I was like, I just had to suggest that we continue working on it because you don't get the chance to work with that kind of art, without paying somebody.
Right.
I know you're probably waiting for it.
Yeah, and so myself, I am a project manager as my other job, the one that actually.
Awesome project manager.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I fit in. You know, I went to the first game jam. I can't do art. I'm a semi-programmer. I know a little bit, but nothing. Anything close to what Matt can do. So pretty much going into there, I was kind of going in with just tons of ideas for games, and I thought that would be cool. And met up with Matt and Ian, and found out that you really need a project manager when you have to build a game from scratch in 48 hours. And so that's kind of where I've just fit in every year and made sure we hit that deadline. And actually, most times at game jams, we can kind of finish our game with 8-9 hours to spare, just so we can test and perfect and everything. So.
Yeah, I remember he was standing over my shoulder like that guy from The Office as I was animating. He was like, how's it going over there, Leonard? I felt all this pressure.
Yeah, you got those TPS reports?
Yeah, I'm going to need you to comment on Catterday.
Yeah.
It's exactly it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be great. He was just like that, really laid back. I was like,
So what are some?
I'm trying to think.
Peter.
Sorry, just about
Yeah.
budgeting time or whatever. Like, how much time do you set aside for kind of just feedback and play testing and prototyping? I guess is a big thing I've been hearing a lot of people really endorsing, like spending most of your time seeing what doesn't work and throwing it away. But like, do you have time to do all those phases in 48 hours, really? Or?
No.
No,
Okay.
I hear a lot of that. I hear a lot, like every jam, they encourage you to prototype and throw away, 2 ideas before you really commit to one. And I just don't think there's enough time to really do that and actually finish something.
Okay.
We really just we come up with something the first few hours, and they're usually some of the most stressful hours of the jam, just trying to think of something that's going to work, and we just stick to it.
we did throw out a lot though.
Yeah.
We did throw out a lot of ideas, but we never actually start prototyping anything.
Okay.
I never started.
And I think that's kind of what we do is when we sit down, we take those first couple hours and we just think through like 2 or 3 versions of a game, like just quickly on paper, and then we decide, we don't want to do that. Like for this past jam, the Eye of the Beholder, I think the one we kind of wanted to do, but we knew it was just going to be overplayed, was the fact of getting a character, and when you switch between 2 characters, they see different things, and we thought that would be a really cool idea, but we decided to go with this idea because we figured it would be overplayed, and we were right. We saw the games come out, and there was 4 or 5 games that used that exact concept. So
Like they see the world in a different light, or antagonist, protagonist, or
right,
you press a button and reality shifts, and the colors change, and platforms are in different places, that kind of thing.
Okay, so an alternate dimension or something.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we had really come out with a few different ideas were thrown out and everything, and really not very many made it past that. Hey, Bill, that's a terrible idea. Shut up and sit down. So.
Okay. Like, having never been to a game jam, like, is the entire process, like, it's like, you walk in, they announce what the theme is, and then you start brainstorming, like, you can't really come in armed with any ideas already.
That's exactly it. It's you come in, and at 6 o'clock, about 5 o'clock, they kind of start letting you break up into teams, throwing out, like, fake ideas just so you can kind of brainstorm and meet people and try to form a team. And then at 6 o'clock, they hand you the theme, and you got to go with it,
Okay.
I came armed. I had my tower and all my rigging tools. So.
All right. Cool. I've been meaning to attend stuff like that, but I guess I missed the most recent one in our area. So,
And we don't have a lot of them here.
we need to change that, dude.
It was hard enough to get.
area?
It was hard enough to get an IGDA meeting.
Yeah. We're in southern Alberta, Canada, so
Yeah, I think the next one's
Oil.
coming up end of January. I think it's January 25th. And
it's
that's
a global one.
Yeah, that's the global one. So
Okay, I guess we'll start hearing more about that. Well, that's around MagFest time, right? So, interesting.
Well, Magfest is the beginning of January.
Right, so we'll leave there enthusiastic, and then...
Or tired and depressed. Either way will be good game designers that way.
Yeah, pretty much both.
Yeah, a nice mixture of both. So, what are your guys' thoughts on Kickstarter or Greenlight?
They're just kind of recent stuff that's been affecting, not necessarily infecting the entire...
Well, affecting indie developers specifically, yeah.
I think Kickstarter is an amazing concept. It's great. It really provides opportunities. I have friends who have their own studios and they're using Kickstarter to get funded. And but I do know one guy who's just been working on that project forever. So meeting you still need experience when you start kickstarting something. So.
Yeah, I don't have much experience with that. I've seen some of the really cool stuff coming out, through Kickstarter and where people are building their own systems and they're, funding it through promises of pre-sales and stuff. So it definitely looks cool and with projects coming up and you never know if we decide to take what we make at the next game jam and take that to a level like we did with Default Dan. So it might be something.
Yeah, the internet's just generally revolutionizing a lot of things just on a social level. Just the idea of crowdfunding and crowdsourcing and sort of getting people kind of getting their finances and ideas and things like that together for a common cause. It's really interesting, the social dynamic that it's inspired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and kind of sidestepping a lot of conventional business.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, you'd think you're sidestepping some of it, but for example, you're working with your funders, and your funders, you're giving them a lot of promises, usually on Kickstarters if you look, and so it's really cool. Like it seems like they're your shareholders when you think about it. So It's not that much different. It's just the internet now, and it's a younger, hipper look. I said hip.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's a kinder, gentler, hipper nation.
So for something like Greenlight, Steam's Greenlight, is that something that you can see really helping indie developers, or does it all just kind of boil down to a popularity contest online?
Like we've heard some mixed thoughts on it so far, and I guess it's still kind of in its earlier days, so we're not sure yet what the verdict is, but just thoughts so far.
I would just say, right now we're actually we entered Default Dan in the competition with Steam and the Yo-Yo Games to try to see if we can win some startup money, to maybe make this happen and get it on all the different platforms.
Right.
So, as of now, we're actually seeing to where, we were worried that it would be a popularity contest, but it looks like Steam's actually, taking the time to look through and actually vote for some games. And what we've noticed is seeing, our game and all the people that have rated the game, which we, thoroughly appreciate, that, sometimes it is, and with the popularity contest, but we've kind of noticed that there's a lot of people actually out there looking at the games, making comments, and it is helping these indie gamers. Unlike before, there was really no place to actually put those games out there and try to get the public to be able to see them.
Yeah, the interactive community is probably going to be a big help with that type of thing too. Because actually, one of the features that were added, Matt, someone from I don't know somewhere emailed you about the whole ZX key thing. About they had a weird keyboard and they lived in.
Oh yeah, he lived in Switzerland and they have a Qwert Z keyboard instead of Qwert E, so their Y and Z keys are flipped for some reason. And so since we control Z and X. He was having to stretch his pinky from X to the Y key to play, and it just I pretty much just made the Y and Z key interchangeable so that he could play. But there's a lot of stuff like that you don't think about until people complain.
That's got to be a trip getting a message from like across the world saying, "Yo, you got to fix this because I want to play your thing."
It was all of what, like a real quick fix. I mean, within minutes or so, you were like, "Yeah, go ahead and download the new version."
I guess just going on that train of thought more, what's a hurdle you've each had to jump over to make this become as like what you want it to be? I guess you'll all have separate answers, but maybe we'll start with Britt.
Yeah, I think the main thing has just been time. So we got everybody on the team. We all have jobs, so to be able to do this in our free time and actually make it to where in just a couple months we've taken it from where it was to where it is now, and actually getting some Saturdays together where everybody can just meet up and work on it. But yeah,
those
definitely
schedules syncing up. That seems like it would be the toughest part with more and more people.
Oh no, not really. Actually, the way they set it up is really cool. It's we're all communicating on one Facebook page and private page, and anytime we have a little list, a doc that switches, and everyone, and Dropbox helps a lot too. You can see all the updates. So man, the internet's just way.
I'm sort of a perfectionist when it comes to games, and I never worked with a team this big before. And so I guess a hurdle for me was just learning to trust everybody to do their job and not freaking out about, the time deadlines. It turned out really well. Like, I was just amazed at the work that people were just dropping in the Dropbox. I'd get to work and load it up and be like, holy crap, he just posted a new animation and there's like 120 frames. And he did that overnight. Like, what the hell? But
yeah, that's a huge hurdle. We have jobs and working stuff overnight to get it done. But it's a really good game, and it's really something I think we're all passionate about. So,
yeah, another thing is that programming. I spend like all of my time making games, especially in something like this when there's a project I'm really excited about, and especially if there's a deadline or something. I spend so much time making games. I don't have any time to do anything else or to like catch up on the news or like read articles and learn things, so I kind of feel like an idiot for most of the time I'm developing. And like people ask me a question like, what do you think about this? I feel like I have no idea what that is because I've been making a game for the past year. Like, I haven't done anything in a
president?
year. Yeah, it's like go into like a bomb shelter and come out and like my vocabulary will like be cut in half after I finish developing something. So I kind of have some time to recover. Taking a 2-week break right now from default.
Did you vote, Matt?
Jim says he's terrible with happy music, which is something he had to do for this game. He was working on me with one of my long-term projects called Zero Vector, and it was very atmospheric cinematic music that he based on like the Tron soundtrack, the recent Disney Tron movie. And this is the first time he's ever had to do like straight up like just happy, gayful music, and he said he had a lot of trouble with it, but it turned out pretty well, I think.
It turned out really well. Awesome.
It's just in relation. Oh, unless was there more answers on that question? I just kind of want to transition from the bomb shelter mentality into asking about recent gaming stuff, because we kind of talked about classic games, but like, are you guys playing anything recently? Like, just curious, kind of what's going on out there.
Yeah, I actually have a hard time keeping up with games. Just from playing. It's like when you have free time, it's like I have to make the choice. It's like I just got done with like an 8-hour shift at work. I can either spend the rest of the night working on a game, or playing this game I bought a month ago and I haven't even played yet. So it's hard to keep up. And I think I'm playing Dishonored right now, which is awesome. I'm playing Space Chem, which I'm addicted to because I'm obsessed with puzzle games. That's me. So.
Yeah, and I think with me, I've just been playing like the D3, StarCraft 2 kind of stuff on the computer. Yeah, I mean, I kind of I have the Xbox and everything, and probably gonna be playing a little bit of the Halo 4 and stuff, but for the most part, I don't play often just because I'm always working on other things. So.
Okay.
I definitely haven't played a video game or been addicted like I used to in at least 2 or 3 years. I'm embarrassed to say that, but I'm all about the animation, and so I usually watch the movies and all the cartoons that come out and whatnot. I'm mostly on that side of things.
So is Wreck-It Ralph good, or?
No.
Alright. That's recent animated films about video games.
Wreck-It Ralph is definitely good, I can tell you that.
Okay.
Did you go see it?
I went to a pre-screening the week before it came out, and it was just it's awesome. It's one of those that if you love the animated movies, it's awesome. If you're a video game nerd, like I'm sure we all are, there's so many different references in there to every single game you could ever imagine, including back to stuff that Bill probably remembers. So.
Yeah.
We included you, Bill. See?
yeah, like the old school triple action, and never mind. I'm just gonna not even.
A little bit of Tapper, the arcade game.
The joystick, Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully there was at least a couple of Galaga references in there too.
Let's see. What about you, Bill? What kind of games you been up to?
Lately I've been crap. I have a lot less time to play these days. I don't know. I just actually finally, a month and a half after it came out, finally got the Mists of Pandaria. I kind of broke down.
Oh, how is it? I need to know about this right now.
The starting area for the pandas isn't bad. They did a pretty good. I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a nice big little Easter egg surprise at the end where you're just like, wow, that's kind of clever.
Is there the chance that I will lose my life again?
The jury's out on that one. I'm really trying to maintain the self-control to still actually get the required, 4.5 hours of sleep a night and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
No, but it's not bad. I mean, before that, I was playing some Guild Wars 2. It wasn't too bad. I'm still pretty stuck on StarCraft 2, especially user-created maps like Squadron TD, things like that. But yeah, I just finally got back into the WoW, and I honestly haven't even touched my high-level characters. I've been working on my new monk, slowly but surely, I think.
Are the animations for the monk really as good as people keep saying?
They're pretty clever. I mean, they were rigged up pretty nice, and they're kind of comical and sort of slapsticky. But yeah, I mean they've made a few. I mean, since Vanilla WoW, like originally, because I was actually baited it a long time ago. God, that's been like 8 years now.
8 years, yeah.
Oh dear. They've made a lot of improvements. I mean, they do have a 64-bit client out. They have a lot of lighting effects and shadows and volumetric kind of things going on. Take advantage of some of the new graphical technologies. I'm just amazed that they've been able to continue to breathe life into it, and it's gone well beyond triple the typical life expectancy of an MMORPG. I mean, it's
it really set its own standard for MMORPGs that every other company has had to try to replicate in some way.
Well, one of the things they did too is they brought it to the common person. They've actually carved out a niche. They've created a much larger market that, it's not just for cat-assing nerds sitting there, spending their whole lives playing. It actually became somewhat trendy. Even the non-nerds started to play, which, gives people like us a bad rap for breaking it down and downloading it.
Yeah. So, as the animation expert Leonard, pandas, yay or nay?
Game animation for me has always been an issue. I usually go for the cuts, the sequences. The animations from this game are good. It's good game animation, if I put it that way. I'm gonna put it that way. I believe there's a huge difference from when you're thinking of the class or the school of animation where you have to have things flow and you have to have squash and stretch. You don't have any of that in games. So calling it animation, and I don't know. I'm one of those guys, those animation types.
All right.
Nathan.
What?
Nathan.
Pandas? Yeah?
Pandas better than cats.
No. What?
Better than ponies?
They don't even mate. They're gonna die.
Nice.
I don't know if you saw Planet Earth, but they're just not thinking through, dude. This whole baby thing. So, no, I don't think so. Plus, I'm sitting beside a cat right now, so I'm biased.
Okay, cats or ponies?
Well, actually, if you don't answer this the right way, you're going to get the shit
friends.
scratched out of you.
Yeah. So
I don't
really,
think
he's
he
a
understands what I'm
hostage.
saying.
This is no longer a recording. This is a hostage situation. So, Nathan, I'm sorry, you're
Yep.
going to have to die.
Oh, all right, man. Harsh. Okay.
We're gonna miss
And
you,
dude,
man.
Rarity owns a cat, so it's all cool.
Ugh.
Oh my God! You killed Nathan. You bastards.
Yeah. All right, so I'm completely out of questions, which is why we started talking about panda bears. Nathan,
Yeah.
do you have anything left?
No, I don't think so. I want to go to game jams. I want to see stuff. I want to play video games. I like them.
Yeah.
And Game Maker, that apparently is getting more and more talk. Hotline Miami, game of my personal love, was also made with that.
Well, I guess a quick question. What engine are you guys using?
It's Game Maker Studio.
It's Game
I might have
Maker?
mentioned
Okay.
I might have forgotten, but yeah, that's what we're using. I find it amazing for game jams because you can just crank stuff out as fast as you can think it. And it like adding new art in is all really fast too. Like a big chunk of time always goes to just getting all of the assets people are making and getting them into the engine and into the game and scripting, the frames so everything cycles correctly. And that's all you can do very fast in Game Maker. So, if you give a team of 4 Game Maker and another X and A or something and of equal skill, the game that's going to come out of Game Maker is going to be a lot more polished in 48 hours.
Does anybody have any experience with Unity?
Yeah, actually, I animate for Unity a lot, on jobs and at the last game jam. And I came to the game jam, this one, expecting to get on the Unity team, because I was like, okay, I'm 3D, and anybody working 3D, they're like, no, we're not doing 3D, it's not impossible. so when these guys mentioned Game Maker, I was like, what is this sorcery? But it worked out fantastically.
Yeah, I took a class on Unity back when I was in college, so I have a little bit of experience with it. I think that was back when they still had JavaScript, which I think they're phasing out now, but I haven't used it in probably a couple of years, and I definitely plan on using it eventually. It's just to make a 3D game, you need certain skills that I just don't have access to
Right.
to actually be able to make something that would go anywhere. So I just kind of stayed away from it for a while. But it's something I want to try at a game jam someday when I get bored of Game Maker.
Yeah, prerequisite for any game jam, make sure they have Unity experience. One of the things I pride myself on is being a fast animator. So I was confident I could give whatever the Unity guys wanted, but it came to the point where sometimes I would submit something and they couldn't get it in the engine, or they would have the animations kind of wonky, and if you really don't have a whole team of awesomeness, you have issues of non-perfection.
Yeah.
Right on. What is some advice you would each give to someone starting indie game development or looking to get into that scene? I guess starting with Britt.
Yeah, I would just say, focus on the idea. What we found a lot of the times, especially at these game jams, it's all really about the idea in the game. Just like you see with Default Dan, we could have done this in a 2D whatever, just like Mario, but it's the fact that it's just a new concept and a new game that gives you that little bit of nostalgia of the game, but at the same time, it gives you something new. That's what, to me, is the key to all the games.
Matt?
I would say don't get too attached to one project when you're starting out, and don't take anything people say on forums to heart, because people are idiots and they're very, very mean on forums.
True
And
that.
you can pour your heart into a game, and it can be like your culmination of your life's work, or so you feel at the time. And you post it up as a work in progress and just want everyone to shower you with glory, and instead, you just get a bunch of like really crappy feedback. Or one time, the reason I'm sort of soured on these forums is we posted our Zero Vector work in progress up on this work in progress forum, and some guy reviewed a work in progress, gave it a 0 out of 10, and went onto all of our YouTube videos and posted comments saying, "Do not buy this game. Don't get suckered into doing it when they're finished with this game." And it was just like so shocking, and as I just wish I hadn't tied myself to that project so much and become so emotionally invested in what people had to say about it. You just have to learn to let things roll off your shoulders, I guess.
Yeah, look at the comment section of any YouTube video, and you'll see how many haters there are out there. My advice would be definitely to be open-minded and outgoing. About it's really about, you know, when you're meeting the people that you're going to be working with, and it's really a good experience to it's a social experience. You know, gaming is not for the hermit, even though all the nerds seem like we are, but we work together, and that chemistry is really important.
Bill?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with the social aspect of things. You know, just really bouncing ideas off each other, and I mean, let your imagination run wild. I mean, come up with some kind of new concept. You know, think about what you played, and then take that into account, and think about, well, what haven't you played? Like, what kind of game would you like to play? And what direction should we run with it? And you know, the guys on this team, it was great. I mean, there was a lot of laughter in the brainstorming session that followed the receiving of the concept of the game theme. You know, and then we had a brainstorming session, a lot of laughter, a lot of crazy ideas, and we eventually kind of slimmed it down to, you know, a smaller amount kind of thing. But, you know, then, you know, you just kind of let your imagination go, and you know, build it as you go, and, you know, roll with it. Especially on that 48-hour timeline, man, that can be a doozy.
Right on. Okay, well, thank you guys for sitting down, taking some time talking to us, and letting us play your game and see what that's all about. For anybody listening that wants to check the game out, it's defaultdan.com is the site. You can go on there, look at the trailer, keep up on the news, and download the beta and do all that great stuff. I'll include in the show notes the address for the Steam workshop place here that I'm looking at. It's just a little too long to say on here. And also, it looks like they're on Twitter, Default Dan Game, so follow them on that. And again, thank you guys. I wish you the best of luck, and I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with in the future.
Yeah,
Take care, man. Thanks.
Yeah, man.
Yep. Thanks a lot.
Yep.